Hi, everybody. This is Patti Negri. Welcome to the witching hour. Yes, that hour of the day when the veil is thin and magic happens. I've got some nice kitty cat magic for you today. Let me introduce you to my wonderful guest who I just met and I've been talking to for a while now. So let me introduce you to Jessica T. Cohen. She is the creator of the Feline Oracle Spirit Blanket Divination System and an illustrator of dark fantasy. Her work is beautiful, terrible, and always without remorse, much like herself. Her love of glyphs, sigils, and symbols of all kinds was the gateway into her fascination for the occult and divination. She believes that by understanding the visual lexicon of our past, she is able to navigate her way through the future. Jessica lives with a large black cat named Mooch, a murderer of crows, and next door to her mother. She takes some small pride in tracing back her lineage to Salem, Massachusetts, which her friends say explains a lot. Thank you so much, Jessica, for coming on. I've been waiting to meet you.
Oh, well, thank you for having me. This is such a pleasure.
So, first off, explain what is a feline oracle blanket?
Absolutely. Many years ago, while doing laundry and making piles of clean laundry on a bed, I was speaking with a girlfriend of mine while we were doing it, and my cat came in. He wandered through the piles of laundry, and then he very seriously chose one and made like real serious eye contact with me. And then he sat on just one pile particularly and glared at us. And Kathy said, "This is really amazing. It feels like he's telling us something." And I said, "Yeah, I was thinking that too." And then she said, "Wouldn't it be cool if we had a big enough Ouija board for a cat?" And then once that got said, I couldn't stop thinking about it because it was clear to me that this was an attempt at some kind of communication, which I'm still not sure whether or not I got the answer to this message or the question. But then I realized a Ouija board / spirit board, because Ouija is just an owned marketing of a spirit board.
Right.
I realized that the spirit board would only work if it was made for the cat. So the symbols have to be things that the cat understands. So Feline Oracle Spirit Blanket is my attempt at creating a board not for you to just use your cat as a planchet, not that. It's for the cat to read and then transfer its information to you. So all the symbols have to do with things that are immediately important and understood in cat brain. So in the four corners representing the four elements, I have prey animals. So the bird is air, and fire is the moth, and obviously water is the fish, and earth is the mouse. And then inside of that ring is a pentacle made up of 5 points. And the 5 points start at the top. And that is the spring, which is subconscious emotions and creativity. And then there's an open window, which is the sunspot, which is about rejuvenation and recharging and self-care. And then below that is the hunter's blind, which is a crouching place from which you study from a distance your prey or your obstacles or whatever you're going to go in and take over. And then the next in is the high place, which is symbolic of getting some perspective, of taking a long view, like getting up on top of it and looking down on it, changing your perspective. And then the last is the Gordian yarn ball. And the Gordian yarn ball is about problem solving and the truth that sometimes the journey is more important than the outcome. And so you need to keep in mind that the process is part of everything. And those things make the reading. Then the far corner sides are just moods, basically modes of operation that the cat goes through on a daily basis, like stalk and sleeping and purring and fang. So each one, it can be crossed over or a body part of the cat may be touching it, but depending on how they're moving and what they are doing with you, the reading can vary a great deal. So I wrote a book and I made the board and created a system that I then tested and is working. So I'm very, very happy with it.
That is fabulous. But it's not a board, it's a blanket, correct?
It's a blanket because I wanted the cat to really engage. And so I made it out of the softest, cuddliest blanket I could get my hands on. So one side is all Sherpa fleece and the other side is chamois. And I have yet to meet a cat that didn't go right to it when we laid it out, which honestly was a little shocking to me the first time, that other people's cats, like my cats, have been interacting with it, but I didn't think necessarily it would be true for everybody else. But I've gotten people sending me pictures of bringing home the bag and opening it and the cat just sitting on the folded blanket immediately. Like, oh no, this is all for me. This is my thing.
Ah, so do you have like, do you create a ritual or something that goes with it? Like, oh, I have a question for the oracle now, and then tell your cat to go sit down? Is
My experience is that no cat does anything when you tell it to. So,
exactly.
so I like to do mine as a daily sort of practice, and it's grounding for me in the mornings. I also leave one on my bed,
Mm.
and because I happen to know for a fact that my oracle Mooch comes in once I've left the bed and made it up all smooth, and likes to get that picture is Mooch on my bed. And that's when he likes to like take his time and go through the blanket. Although he will meet me first thing in the morning, and if I lay one out on the living room floor, while I'm having my coffee, we talk to each other and he moves around the blanket then. So I feel like it's an easy way to have a morning practice to sort of set yourself in the mindset of being able to receive energy and to be watchful and mindful of how you move through the day. And the cat, because by their nature, they are transfers of energy. They take energy in and they give it back to you cleaned.
Yeah.
It's a really safe, comforting, easy way for both you and your pet to be a part of the process. And I know that almost everyone I can think of who has any sort of practice is always looking for ways to make it part of their day. And this is just an easy way, and it's comfortable, and it's time with your pet. What's not to love?
I love it. So again, I'm sure it works for many of us, which is my cat is not my familiar, far from it. She's crazy and she's too young anyway.
Yeah,
So, but this could be a nice way to get that connection going, I would
ab-
actually think, with a
absolutely.
cat, whether it's your familiar or not.
Absolutely. Because I do find that kittens are attracted to the blanket, and they may use it the way it's meant to, and then they will also use it the way kittens use everything. But uh, that
Eating it.
opportunity for them to be moving into that sort of space with you, I think, is always valuable. And I feel like familiars let you know when they've made the call that they're on board with you. And I see that when I'm spending time with Mooch, with the blanket, he's a very different focus when he's doing it. So yeah, absolutely. I think it would help with the process.
I love that. So now, what about those of us who, not that she's my familiar yet
Yeah.
either, that have little dogs, like my dachshund Willow?
Oh,
Can
well,
can dogs do the feline
I'm a big
oracle?
dog fan, and I've been trying to find the right combination, because part of what makes Feline Oracle work so easily is that it's in their nature to behave a certain way when it comes to
Mhm.
something cozy and soft. And dogs have a very different nature. They frequently like to wad it up. So it's harder
Yeah.
to read because they're making a nest. And
Yeah.
so I've been working on a new way of doing it, something that's meant to be wadded up, that's for dogs, but I haven't finished my research yet, because I need something that's consistently true for a lot of dogs. So we'll see if I can do that, but I'm sure there's
I
dog divination out there.
I love that. And my girl, yes, she does do that. She's a dachshund, so she
Right.
does do the squishing up, but she will constantly do that circle around, circle around, circle around, lay here. So I'm gonna have to get one. I'm gonna have to order one, and I'll try it with the crazy kitten and
Um,
the and my pup. Who's maybe I could help you with your research.
that'd be amazing. Yeah, all the more input, the better. I really encourage people who, even if they don't have a blanket yet, if they have any questions about it, to contact us on any of our social media. I say we, but it's really me and Mooch and Leela and Kyle. Leela's familiar, who's been really doing it all, just the four of us. But it's
Aw, that is beautiful. So I love it. So your cat sat on the laundry, and now we have this beautiful feline oracle, and I see stuff all around you. And you're an artist by trade as well,
I
right?
am.
This
I'm an
is great stuff.
illustrator. Yes, absolutely. And I've always had this connection to divination. It's always really fascinated me. And I feel like being a visual artist, m- the I did Feline Oracle very quickly once I got it. Once I really understood what I was doing, we were in lockdown and I finished it in 6 weeks. But I had had
Wow.
all my notes on my desktop for 20 years. So then during that time, I also did a post-apocalyptic tarot deck, Tarot of the
Oh,
Waste, because I had just gotten started with Wasteland Weekend, and
ah,
we're a whole group of us, and we have a camp that's all women, and all of us do different forms of divination in camp for the time we're there for anyone who comes. So I just felt like it was a place that needed a rich mythos, and the best way to create that myth was to make the archetypes that work for it and understand them. And it was really not a lot different than when I started on the spirit board. You just really want to understand who you're building it for and what their needs are, and then they all those symbols sort of make themselves clear. And so it was a delight to build that deck, and it still makes me happy every time I spread the Feline Oracle blanket and I think, oh, these drawings came out great. Yeah. That student loan was worth it.
really? Oh, that's cool. I love that it's a waste. I have a lot of friends who yearly, whenever, however, they are there with it, and I know it has its own mythos and everything. So, a post-apocalyptic deck, is it looking at the negative, positive? What is?
Well, that is interesting. So I realized while I was building it that the tarot that we all take for granted as tarot, that system was built with a really powerful understanding of how the world moves in a cyclical way, that there are turning of the
Mhm.
seasons, and we think of time as very linear. So linear and moving in a circle, right, through the seasons,
Right.
and that the world is constantly renewing itself. But if you were going to build in a deck for a post-apocalyptic world, you can't count on the seasons, and you don't know if what comes out of the ground is going to nourish you. So the deck is really focused on community and
Mm.
how we make each other safe and give each other space to grow and blossom. So it's really about connections and learning who and how to trust. So the archetypes I chose are slightly tweaked versions of what we're used to. Instead of the Emperor and the Empress of the major arcana, I have the Warrior Queen and the Warlord. Instead of the Magician, I have the Seer. Instead of the Devil, I have the Tyrant. And the Tower is ground zero. So I really was trying to get to a place where we were realizing that survival is the most important first step to getting anything after something that's fundamentally going to rewrite your environment. And I find that specifically on the wasteland property, while we're all there and involved in creating this agreed upon reality, the deck is extremely potent in that space, and it's been
Wow.
adventure. And I loved doing all the art. It's very much unlike the rest of my art, and I tried to make it out of just found materials, so it would be like something you would have made after the apocalypse. Like, I did all the drawings with burnt sticks and painted with house paint and collaged it, and it was just a great process. It was really satisfying.
That's fabulous. Well, I can't wait to check that one out too. Though I'm not a wasteland person, I can. I've gifts for all my friends.
Yeah,
So, what I just keep going back to I'm a big diviner. I'm a dowsing rods girl over everything.
I
And
have been
tarot.
watching
I
you
do
with the
tarot.
thousand rods.
I just love them because you get out of your own way. You get out of your own way. But I think nothing getting out of your own way than putting it in the hands of a cat.
Yeah.
How awesome is that? How you just like,
Like,
you
and also,
know,
I feel like when a cat tells you something, you know they're actually concerned, because in general they're pretty much perfectly happy to let you just fumble through your life. So if they have
Yeah.
news for you, if they're watching and they've decided it's time to communicate this, you probably should take a look, or at least listen.
So do you start getting, once you start doing it for a while, other than where they live, do you start getting little tells and signs from your kitty? Like I do my rods by which one goes and how. It
Yeah.
starts more detail and more detail. Can you do that with your kitty, like their sense of urgency or the flip
So
of a
all of
tail?
those things, a sense of urgency, how engaged they are with you while they're doing it. Sometimes they'll be very engaged in the process itself. Like they'll really be looking at the symbols and you're just a witness. But sometimes you get an absolute connection. Like they're making eye contact with you and they're taking their spot and then they're looking at you like, are you seeing this? These are the things that are important. And I feel like as time has passed for me, definitely the readings get more personal and more potent. And since I've had Leela on the team and I've been watching Leela and Kyle, who are on TikTok all the time, um, they too, it's a progression that's gone pretty fast. Like I was surprised. I feel like I don't have any perspective of how quickly it went deep for me because I was doing it. But watching Kyle and Leela, I'm really impressed. Like they really started just reading the book and now they're communicating and it's amazing and magical. Yeah. So I think that it only gets deeper the more time you spend, but that seems to be true with most forms of divination.
Exactly. Oh, I love it. So the book gives you just the book is attached to the blanket itself,
The
to
book
the
is
board.
attached to the
So
blanket, and it just has a breakdown of every symbol and the meaning, and it gives some tips and tricks, especially if you're a multi oracle home, because there are readings that happen with multiple oracles, which are always an adventure, but usually really worthwhile because they cover a lot of ground. Um, so it just has a map of the board and then a breakdown of all of the symbols, and it's easy to use. I wanted to keep it open to your own intuitive understanding. And I know that a lot of people don't trust right away that they're going to have one, but I guarantee you, spend a little time with it. You know this cat, and all of it will become clearer and clearer as you're moving through it. And if you have any questions, we just opened a Discord and you can
oh,
contact us there, even if you don't want to immediately jump on social media. If it needs to be more private, or if you just have questions, you don't even need a blanket. You just like to know what we're doing, then you can absolutely engage us.
oh, that's fabulous. So I'm sure people now are going, where do I get one of these? So how do people find you? How do people
So
find this
I'm I
whole system?
I made a website. So um, you can link to any of my websites and get to me, but there is just felineoracle.com. And when you do that, if you do that after having listened to us talking, I would really appreciate it if you ordered that in the notes for the very end. It's the last thing before you check out. If you just put in witching hour, then I can send you a special present, and I'll be able to know that that all the witches are here listening to this, because it's
Yeah.
amazing to me how much my community has opened up since I went public with the blanket, and it had never occurred to me. I've been sort of a quiet practitioner, and this made me much more aware of who else is out there and what else we're doing, and it's amazing.
I love it. So you guys order it and make sure you say witching hour, get a prize. I love it because I mean, yes, all the witchy people, and we know all us witchy people love cats, even if whatever we have. But also, there's a million people who don't like the word witch and
Yeah.
not even sure about the word divination, but they're going to be okay with having their cat tell them what to do on a blanket. I think you're opening up a whole market that might be afraid of even a set of oracle cards. I think because everybody loves their kitty cat.
It's
And
an easy in, absolutely. And I feel like people have fears about attracting attention from the wrong kind of energy. And once again, the cat's job is to clean and clear. So this is a nice, safe way to get started if it's just something you've been thinking about. And if not, I tried to make that blanket beautiful so it'll look great in your living room. But your cat will want to be on it all the time.
I love it. And again, and cats do, if they're your familiar or even if they're not, they are your watchers. They are protectors. They help you travel between the realms. So you've got
Mhm.
your protection built in with what the oracle is. Didn't even think of
Absolutely.
that.
That was something that came to me kind of late in the process, but I was so pleased. I ended up speaking to a woman who is a cat psychic and a cat therapist, and we were talking, and she said, "This was." I was so proud. She said, "I really believe that you might have created the first valid tool for talking to your cat." And I just started squealing during the phone.
Oh.
I was like, "Really? Can I have that in writing?" So. But
Oh, that
then I've been watching.
yes.
Yeah.
No, so can you use it other than going, what's gonna be my day today? Should I turn left? Should I turn right? Using it for divination for yourself. I was just thinking that when you said it, how to communicate with your cat. How are you feeling today, Fluffy? What is,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. And is there anything you need, or is there something that you've been trying to tell me, or if you notice the cat hasn't been feeling well, it's certainly a valid way to try.
That's fabulous. What do you think, Grace? I just go, I'll eat it.
Yeah, I am completely down for the answer. I think you should open another can is a common one for
Yeah,
Mooch, but
more food will fix
this is
everything.
and a butter.
Anyway, I love you are an artist, you are a divination goddess, you are all sorts of things. Do you have something next on your plan? You know what's next?
I am actually working on using the symbols to create a set of cat throwing runes. So I'm
Oh,
in process right now of putting that together, and I also thought of them as an augment for the spirit board itself. I had met a woman who came from a long line of people who did divination, and she said that her grandmother over time had created um, like a pouch of tiny objects that she had picked up everywhere that she had traveled, and that when she did a card reading, she would spill the objects like how you see like knuckle bones played over the cards.
hmm.
And depending on how they landed, it would affect the subtleties of the reading for her. It would tell her things about it. And I just was really impressed with that because it adds a level of personal subtlety for the reader. And I thought maybe there's a way to go about that for Feline Oracle. And so I got started on the process. So that's what I'm working on now. And as an illustrator, I am starting to work on a series of Gothic authors for the young. So good night books for little kids about Edgar Allan Poe and Mary Shelley and H.P. Lovecraft and Bram Stoker and Alexander Dumas. So I
I love it. I
really
love
enjoy
it.
the drawings, and I'm excited.
That is, I can't wait for all of them. And yes, our youth needs more interesting books to read.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, because they do. It's a new world. It's a world that we have to.
Hmm.
This is good. Oh my goodness. Well, I am really excited. I am looking at my cat. I I'm excited to have you on. You guys, please check out Jessica T. Cohen, both her Feline Oracle page and her art page, and check out her deck and get a blanket. I mean, who doesn't need an oracle blanket? I don't know. I'm picking up my friends with little lizards, my friends with guinea pigs, my friends with, but I do understand they're designed around
Yeah.
cats.
Totally.
Well, he's a cutie, that little mooch.
It was very handsome.
So again, tell everybody one more time where they can find you, where they can find your stuff, where you are on social media.
Absolutely. I'm on felineoracle.com. I also have a jessicatcohen.com, which has all my illustration in it. Um, on Etsy, I have a shop called Burning Ground Graphics, but if you type in Feline Oracle, you'll go straight there. And then I'm also on TikTok and on Instagram.
Okay, you guys check her out. She's amazing, beautiful artist, cat lady. And so thank you for bringing your feline magic to the witching hour.
Thank you so much, Patti. It was such a pleasure.